Hey everyone, welcome to another Lords of War informative video.
Information
where
video.
we provide you with information that you may choose to use or not.
You may just ignore it or just
or throw it right in the bin.
Probably gonna just listen to it and then move on with your day.
We got our Tim's cups here,
Yes,
so you
due
know
to
how
popular
Canadian we are.
demand, yes, we got the Tim's cups today. Yeah. We pretty much always have them. We just never.
They're just off to the side. Or whatever,
yeah.
So our wonderful topic of the day is going to be is YouTube good for your hobby or bad for your hobby?
Yeah.
A spicy
There's
one.
a lot of YouTube content, including us.
Oh no, we're part of the problem.
Yeah, so this probably, I guess this is the reason we picked this topic is we get, as hobby store owners and being a hobby store, one of the, I'm going to say few hobby stores that you can actually get like a lot of help.
It's like a traditional hobby store, right?
Yeah.
Like where you kind of, our goal is like, it is a bit like a Games Workshop, like, you know, our kind of mission statement, if you will, is to like actually help people, like, so they come in, they can get physical as well as verbal help, like,
Yeah, like, you know, I think, not to sell ourselves short, but we have like a lot of supplies and we use them. So we are able to, like, anyone who's come down to the store, looked in the cabinets, we have a lot of examples and just lots of tools, lots of like know-how. And even if we don't know, we can probably figure out, you know, your solution. It's very common for people to come and be like, how do I do this? I'm trying to paint this color or whatever, and they rely on
like you turn into like a Benjamin Moore employee. Where
you're selling
you get the pictures out, and then you're going over to the wall.
That's
and you're like, mapping out their triads for them.
How do I paint? I want to try and paint.
Here's
my
your full paint scheme
like
for
this.
you, no problem.
And what makes it more difficult is but different is you have people that have watched or consumed some sort of hobby content on YouTube, and some of it is really good. Like I personally find myself, sometimes someone asks me a question, I'll be like, oh, you know, I think I've seen a video about this, and I can just like quickly check the video and be like, use these steps or whatever, because I know I trust that source, I guess, or whatever. But other times it's, you know,
it's a bit like just for context, like, you know, 15 years ago, you know, before people were really consuming YouTube in any kind of like major way, you would go, like, a customer would kind of come into a hobby store without sort of any kind of preconceived notions, right? And that was good for us in a way because, like, we you know, sort of like, you know, the Best Buy nerds, you know, we're the experts on miniatures and painting and stuff, so we could like kind of explain like their options and kind of like ask them questions about how they want to do it and kind of figure out what's going to be kind of like a good fit for them and how to kind of accomplish the things they want to do. And like Jay was saying, is the thing that's kind of flipped in the last and it's kind of gotten more and more every year. I think like it's gotten I don't want to use the word worse, but like it's different. It's different, right? It's gotten different.
That's the safe word.
Yeah. Lords of War canceled officially as of September 08. And the big change has been that people come in and they've already consumed a lot of information and content about how they might want to do their hobby.
Yep. Yeah, and sometimes like, I don't want to say always, but there's definitely a decent percentage of it is like you're like it's overkill, or it's kind of like the content they've consumed is kind of like, I don't know, it's like the artist kind of just, I don't know, they did something or they didn't do all the steps, or they're kind of, I don't know, making it up as they go or whatever, and it's kind of, or maybe it's like a thing that's like, I don't know, we can think of some examples, but like, I guess like probably the most dominant one right now is like Slap Chop, obviously, was the big one for the last, I don't know, 2 years or whatever. It's like everyone comes in and they're just like, I got a Slap Chop, and you're like, first of all, Chris and I hate the term Slap Chop because it's just someone just threw a phrase on it, and it doesn't, the problem with the word slap with the phrase even is it doesn't define it, doesn't explain at all what's happening. It's just,
well, you're not, let's say like the karate chop or cross chop.
Yeah,
you're just
so like, anyway, and I think, and the other thing is like maybe for Chris might agree, is for me is like it's such a, maybe because it wasn't a new concept, like someone basically decided we're gonna dry brush the gradient of the zenithal, the gray white over black,
the values,
values, and then slam contrast paint on it. And I was like, you could do that with a rattle can. Like, why do you need dry brush? Or like, if you obviously if you airbrush, it's easy. I know this was the whole concept was for you not to need an airbrush, but I feel like airbrushes are pretty common in the hobby now. It's not as like So, and it's not a bad technique, and obviously it works for some people really well. It was interesting that it became the thing. Like that was like almost to the fact that it was like you have to paint it like this.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
oh my god.
It just starts to dominate sort of like the airwaves on there, and I think like for me, I think the thing that's because I don't want to put my like it makes our job harder, so it's not a good thing. It's more from the sense of like, is this the best thing for beginners, right? Like, is this the best way for beginners to enter the hobby, right? Mm-hmm. Because I think the thing that's missing a lot of the time in these like conversations or these videos is like the person who's making the video isn't necessarily thinking in those terms.
Right.
They're thinking like, I'm making a video about this technique that I like, and I do it and I use it, right? And there's not necessarily like a care, not that this person isn't like has to care about that stuff, but the content creator doesn't necessarily have the isn't creating like sort of like the context or whatever for like beginners that exist or come around.
That's true.
And I think that conversation is missing, which I used to really enjoy having with people that are starting the hobby. Is like, well, what do you want to get out of it? Like, are you really wanting to dive into like the painting side of the hobby? Are you really interested in kind of developing and learning kind of like the art side, the techniques, that sort of stuff? Or are you just like really wanting to play the game and have like decent looking models? Because then that's, a whole different conversation, right?
No, this is true. Yeah. So then, so the case we'll get is someone will be like, I don't know, they'll watch 1 billion Slapshot videos, and let's say they're a complete novice or something, or whatever, or they have some, novice, but they haven't painted much, but they've watched a lot of videos. So they come in and they're like, I want to do this, this, and this, and you're like, well, slow down. Like, have you even held a brush in your hand before? Do you even know what any of these things mean? Like, and again, in our Games Workshop careers, and even the store is almost 9 years old. So even in 8 or 9 years ago, even that was long enough before all this like YouTube content took off or whatever. You would have more. We still do, but you'd have more of the like assessment. Someone would come in and be like, okay, where are you at? Like, what are you? Do you paint already? Do you not paint? What kind of supplies do you like? What kind of brushes? All these things. And then we could tailor a scheme or steps that would fit that person's like needs and skill level and whatever. And now you kind of have the person that have decided, again, based on what they've consumed, that this is how they should do it. And you're like, okay. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
And I think that the last thing you want is like, at least me personally, like, at the end of the day, we are trying to make $1 or whatever. But like, the last thing I want as a business too is like for someone to just buy something because like they've been told that this is like the way to paint or whatever, and then like they don't get the result that they want or whatever right away. And then one of the biggest things when you start the hobby is the drop off rate or whatever is super high. Like the attrition rate is like super high at the beginning because it's hard. It's a difficult, challenging hobby. Like, and that's part of the reason we fell in love with it is like you have to like. You get that real sense of earning it, like when you like actually accomplish something and you finish something. Like it's an incredible feeling, right? And you can see yourself getting better and stuff. But for a lot of people, like if that initial stage isn't like sort of like handled correctly, or kind of like in the right way, it's very easy to just sort of like drop it or whatever, right?
So that's like so the one aspect we've just touched on is like the hobby or painting, I guess, building aspect. The other one is the gaming. There's like a lot of hobby YouTube content that's like purely gaming. You could argue that maybe let it take off because like you had like the guys making bat reps and basically I don't want to say telling you how to game, but basically creating this environment of like this is how people play, I guess. And
there's like a normalizing, right? Like you're, for sure, like or zeitgeist or whatever you want to call it, like is where you like you kind of like see whatever you see is what like you interpret as like the normal standard, I guess, right? And I think you're right. Like let's be real honest. Is I think the vast majority of like video content is fairly competitive, probably. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And so like and there's some dangerous things, but like. So again, just like with the painting supplies, where you get some technique that takes off, or whatever, for good or for bad. In the gaming, you'll get these like hot takes that take like a wildfire. So obviously, the recent one was like a couple years ago, I think anyway, was like the Votan fiasco or whatever. Where and then 10th Ed Eldar or whatever, you get this like couple people make a video that people with like a wide reach, and they're like saying things like, "Oh, Eldar banned in competitive play,"
Yeah.
and they say these blanket statements, and it doesn't factor in anything.
And you're just like, it's just funny because you're here in like what I call the trenches or whatever, which is like it's reality, right? Like we're on the ground level,
the
like in the hobby
is the
shop.
most real
it's the
place.
most, it is, and you're just like people come in like with these sort of like hot takes, if you want to say, that they've like absorbed on the internet, and you're just like. In the nicest
also,
way possible.
Make sure you keep watching our hot takes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Ours are good though.
Ours are good. Ours are good. Ours are great. Ours are actually the truest. You heard it here. Yeah.
I said reality, right? I said,
it's true. That's right. Anyway.
Here, as we film from our reality bunker.
That's
whatever,
right. Yeah. This is just a green screen. We don't actually have painted miniatures. This. Yeah.
The sort of like, in the nicest terms possible, trying to like convey to that person, like it's just not like. For the vast majority of people that come in and consume the hobby, it's not something that enters their mind. You know, like it's not like the average customer is before like they consume these sort of like, you know, hot take videos or whatever about like how Votan's ruined and whatever, just like thought those guys look cool, I want to collect them. Like that's like almost the only sort of like thought process that kind of enters their mind.
Yeah, and it comes back to the other thing that like. You know, whatever you play, like, I don't know. I guess we routinely blow people's minds when we give them that stat. They're like, "What if I told you that, like, you know, 9 out of 10 people don't even play?
Don't even play the game.
They don't play the game. They have armies or collect miniatures and they don't play. They don't even. Some don't even paint. Some just buy models. I mean, I think we all just buy models.
Let's be honest. Not every model.
And don't even open
makes
them.
it to the end or whatever.
Buy it. A lot of people don't play, and then that tiny pool of people that do play, an even smaller percentage play what you would call the competitive environment. Most people just play, and I think this like again wasn't new to me, but seeing like even the league or whatever we have at the store, it's like there was a lot of people that were like, oh, you know, this is the most they've played in years. Like COVID aside, I guess like they've been collecting for years, but they haven't played, and the fact that they're playing a buy two times a month or whatever, like holy moly or whatever, right? So, and again, to not to like belittle like I guess people's thought of the hobby, but like Games Workshop already knows this. Like they have a metric. Like we're all kind of like a dollar sign in the sense that like they're gonna get, you know, whatever it is, 6 to 18 months out of each person, and they're going to make this many dollars. And as long as they do that forever,
there's a science to it for sure.
So you know, they're going to just keep making cool minis and make rule sets, but you know, it's up to the individual to continue it and make it work. And I guess this long, like, you know, meandering kind of comes back to like, you know, hopefully you do it because you like it, and also like like you already should know is don't believe everything on the internet. Believe me and Chris, but don't believe the other things on the internet.
Very important distinction. The only thing I cap off the video with is like there's that other edge to the like the online kind of a hobby, like it being very online in the last 20 years, is like the standards people's like. It's sort of like the Instagram models and stuff like that, right? Like you see the best looking person,
that's a good
and you like kind of hold that to your like maybe we'll cover this fully in another video. But like, I think like that could be a really toxic part of the hobby too, where like you're just being bombarded with like the best miniatures all the time from like the most talented people across the world.
Instagram was the worst platform.
Just uninstall it.
Just uninstall it.
You'd be a lot happier for your personal life and your hobby will get a lot better.
Everyone's just really good looking and everything hobby, just like the people, everything hobby related.
It's just flammy on miniatures and and just ridiculous stuff. Yeah,
all you see is, and once you look at a few cool minis, that's all you're seeing. You're just seeing the master class of you know. There's the 100 artists in the world.
It's just not normal.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not. You're looking at like 1%
of
a 1% of people that paint, and it's good to kind of always keep that,
especially in the painting realm. Like you could probably find like what's the percentage of like great gamers versus great painters? Probably like 100 to 1 or something like, or 10 to 1 or whatever it is. But the painters, especially, it's like a very tiny percentage that can paint like you see on Instagram or whatever. It's and like sometimes the only thing I get out of it, it gives me cool ideas, but don't even think about like these people are. Yeah, it's disgusting.
Stop comparing yourself to them.
Yeah, don't compare yourself to them at all.
Yeah, embrace your dad bod. The hobby spirit of your dad bod, and it's okay.
So I would say the leave off, I guess. What is do you have any is there any YouTube thing that you personally endorse or like other than our channel or whatever that like from a hobby?
Man, I'm the worst because I don't watch a lot of I almost watch no hobby content.
Right. Fair enough.
I think I'll like occasionally dig for a video just like really specifically or something like that.
I actually like, there's two. I like the, although he is an incredible painter anyway, but the Angel Geralda's little videos he makes.
Yeah, those have been good.
Obviously, he's heavily sponsored by Vallejo and Harder and Steenbeck and Artist Opus and all that. But again, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, he uses the supplies in the videos, and he's really skilled. But I like how he'll just take like a handful of paints and just make stuff with it, and it's like it's all in his brushwork. Like, it's nothing to do with like, there's no secret behind the paint mixes or whatever. He's just layering them, but he does it like, obviously very well.
Sorry, I lied. That's not true. I think the types of videos that I look for aren't necessarily like the Ninjons of the world, like a personality, like YouTube personality putting their personality on products. The sort of stuff I look for is like
the useful,
the whole controversy. We're starting wars online right now. The like AK puts out like, this is how they use the products we make.
Oh, those are great,
and I love those like step by step sort of like this is how this product works. I watch a lot of those videos. That's
there's one more that I would
Series D like sort of like
actually all the Artist Opus
make really
videos are very good. And the other one I like is especially for horse heresies, all the Culta Paint videos. They'll just go color by color by step by step.
It's really good.
It's pretty good. So those are my like curated, like, if you actually want to learn hockey things and try it yourself and you can follow along and do it, do that. The rest is like, it is what it is. I mean, it's fine. It's fine to have fans of different artists and personalities. Obviously, like, these guys have lots of subscribers. Even Squidmar, obviously, the king at the top, I guess. I think he's the most subscribed hobby guy.
He's the Mr. Beast of
he's the Mr.
world,
Beast of the hobby world, right? And he's got that clean image, and he just makes cool videos, I guess. And he tries not to be too. I find he's not too extreme. I don't know. He has his opinions, but they're not like.
He kind of just like it's just fun. Like, I guess he's just making fun videos for fans. I guess, right?
He's okay. But anyway, tell us what you think. Give us your.
Do you think social media, YouTube, all that stuff is good?
Is it useful to you?
Is it the hobby? Useful? What's your favorite channels? Like that sort of stuff. Share in the comments and like and subscribe and all that stuff. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers.
Whoa, we're getting there. We're at 500 and change, and we get to 1K, and then I don't know. I guess you keep
things
going.
explode.
Things explode
in there. Yeah. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.